All right, we're going to get started here in a minute. It's now 4 o'clock Pacific Standard Time. Isn't that a beautiful fish tank? I love just sitting here looking at my tank. It's very relaxing. I like feeding them, cleaning it. Got a couple cleaner shrimps in there. A little clownfish. A lot of people don't know this, but clownfish are very aggressive. And then this is my second favorite fish. Just kind of floats. My first favorite's called a mandrian. And it doesn't really swim. It just kind of floats like that. But it's about 13 different colors. Purples and blues and oranges and yellow. It's just absolutely gorgeous. And then there's a goby somewhere in there. He's the one that cleans this sand. I don't know if you can see that. But he keeps this tank pretty clean. Saltwater tanks are fairly low maintenance. Oh, Michelle wants to zoom in. She wants to get in on this action.
That's right.
Let me switch this back around. All right. There's my beautiful wife.
All right. Well, I had a question. Oh, you're blushing. I made you blush.
Blushing?
I can wait till you're done.
Okay, she's going to wait. She's going to wait. How are you doing today? I'm starting to feel better. Starting to get over this damn pneumonia. Tell you. As I cough, right? It was getting a little old, being sick. Kind of sucks not being able to go to the gym. I kind of got that habit of going to the gym down, and then I got sick, and that went away. But today I want to go over why you should never close a credit card. And originally I was going to talk about a new report that just come out that said that Americans have added $1 trillion. $1 trillion of credit card debt to their name since 2008. Are you one of these people that added $1 trillion of debt? That's going to be $65 billion in interest they're going to pay. That's crazy, isn't it? But I'm going to talk about that on a different day. Today I want to talk about why you should never close a credit card. Someone posted the other day on our Facebook page, I have a credit card that's 10 years old. If I close it, will it hurt my credit? And I was surprised by all of the... I'm freezing David out. He's in here turning down my... That's the problem with having pneumonia. I'm really hot and everybody else is freezing.
I just get 1 degree.
1 degree. It's like 75. Come on. But she posted on there, if I close a credit card that's been open for 10 years, will it hurt my credit? And it's surprising how many people responded to that. The last time I looked, it was like 56 comments on that. So I want to go over that. But in the meantime, Jason, can you bring me in a stack of silver? So I want to go over that silver contest. So bring me a stack of silver because I took all the rest back to the house and put in the safe. If you'd like a chance of winning some silver and you think my information is valuable, if you don't think it's valuable, don't share it. But if you think it's valuable, share it. Tag a friend that you think could use the information. And then hashtag Fortress Credit Pro, and we will put you in the drawing. And every day I pull out 5 people, and I give away silver. And what's surprising is I had someone post, "What's the deal with giving away silver? Silver is worthless. It has no value whatsoever." Silver has been used for thousands of years as currency. It's real money. Silver and gold is real money. In fact, gold, I don't know if you know this or not, gold is not from the earth. So gold is actually from outer space. A meteorite made of solid gold come into our atmosphere, and then it blew apart and it scattered throughout the entire world. Gold is not from Earth. Gold is from outer space. And a lot of people believe, if you believe in God, that God sent the meteorite to the earth to be distributed as a value of money, to be real money, because gold doesn't really have any other values. And now they're putting in cell phones and stuff, but gold has always been used as money since the beginning of time. But someone said, what's the value in silver? Why are you giving away silver? Well, any one of these coins, depending on the day, could be $16, $17 to $25. Right now it's about, let me look. The value today, I think, was 16. I don't see it right, but I'll look at it later. But it's basically $16.98, $17. All right. So yeah, it's not Bitcoin, but it doesn't crash like Bitcoin either. You know, it's not 20,000 today, 10,000 tomorrow. There's actually value to this. Now, why is silver worth less than gold? Because there's more silver, and because silver can be destroyed. Where gold, you cannot destroy gold. The same amount of gold 2,000 years ago is still on the planet today. You cannot destroy gold. You can heat it, you can smash it, you can burn it, you can bomb it with a nuclear bomb. It does not destroy. You cannot destroy gold, which is another reason it's worth more than silver. Can be destroyed. But there is value to silver. And I'd like to send you some silver. But some of these are worth more than others. You know, this coin, depending if you're a collector or not, this coin might be worth more than some of these other ones. But if you decide to get into buying gold or silver, buy bullion. Don't buy collectible coins, because you can really lose your shirt on collectibles, because you got to know what is worth money and what's not. If you just buy bullion, buy the cheapest silver you can possibly buy. If you're interested and you want to start buying some silver, buying some gold, send me a direct message and I'll send you a link to a wholesaler. I buy mine at cost from a refinery, so I'm not paying commissions when I buy my silver, which can save you $1 a coin. You know, so if you, instead of paying $17, $18 for this coin, you would pay $17 because it's, you buy at spot, right? Not over spot. So enough of that. So if you'd like to win one of these, or 5 of these, or 6 of these, like some of the people, share the video if you think it's got good, if it's worth sharing. Tag a friend and then hashtag Fortress Credit Pro. Let's get into why you should never, ever close a credit card. So back to this girl. She posted, and she actually won some silver, by the way. But she had posted, I have a 10-year-old credit card. Will it impact my credit if I close it? And people said no. People said yes. People said listen to Dave Ramsey. People said credit's from the devil. Just all this nonsense. And the last time I looked, it was like 56 comments from people. Some good, some bad, some were trolls. One of the guys that commented said something like, I open and close credit cards every year. I haven't flown for airline. I haven't paid for a flight in years, and I have an 800 credit score. My bankruptcy was 2 years ago. Now, here's what I'm going to say. Bullshit. Okay? You can't open credit cards and close credit cards every year and have an 800 credit score after filing bankruptcy 2 years ago if it's still on your credit report. And yes, Tracy, you did say Ask Ronnie, and I really appreciate the fact that you did that. And right, Tracy, there were some crazy comments on there. So let's just be clear. Credit cards are the most important thing on your credit report. They impact your credit score more than anything else. Credit cards represent roughly 45% of your credit score. 45%. Now, is it 45% of 850? No. It's 45% of the available points that you have. And depending on the scorecard you're in, will determine how many points you have available. So for that guy that said, I have an 800 credit score and a bankruptcy from 2 years ago, it's impossible because he's going to be in a bankruptcy high-risk scorecard. So it's impossible for him to have 800 credit score, most likely, and have a bankruptcy on his credit 2 years ago. Because he's going to be in a higher risk, low score card, which means instead of being able to go all the way up to 850, the most, if everything was perfect, would be like 750 because they drop you down into that scorecard, or what I like to call buckets. All right. Now, 45% of your credit score is based, roughly 45% of your credit score is based on your credit cards. So if you're in a perfect scorecard, the most amount of points that you could possibly have available to you would be 550 points. That's the most. How did I come up with 550? Well, if you take 850 minus 300, where did I come up with 300? Well, FICO credit score is 300 to 850. That is the FICO number. 300 to 850. Depending on which of the 4,200 different scorecards you're in, will determine what the high number is. Did that make sense? Did you follow that? So 300 to 850 is the score range on a perfect scorecard. But there's over 4,200 different scorecards. And how do you get into a higher credit score or a higher scorecard? That's a great question, Tracy. Great question. How do you get into a higher scorecard? You pay your bills on time. You manage your credit card utilization rate on time. You never close credit cards. You never pay off an installment loan early. You have a mortgage. And there's all these other things that you have control of them, but you don't have control of what scorecard FICO is going to put you in. Does that make sense? You have control if you're going to max out your credit card, but you don't really have control of what scorecard FICO is going to put you in because maybe your credit cards are all less than 2 years old. You know, I can give you an idea how you get into a low credit score or low credit scorecard. Get a collection on your credit report. Pay your bills late. Max out a credit card. Get new credit cards. Apply for a bunch of new car loans. Pay off a mortgage. Pay off a car loan. Go late. That will put you into high risk, low score scorecards. All right, which is what you want to avoid. So back to this lady. Her account's been open for 10 plus years. It's a credit card. She wants to know if she closes it, will it impact her credit score? And the answer to that is yes. It is going to have an impact on her credit score. Maybe right then and there, as soon as they report it, but maybe not for a month, maybe not for a couple of years. It depends on what else goes on with her credit. Now, if all of her credit cards are over 10 years old, and she's got a dozen credit cards 10 years old plus, and she closes one credit card, and she leaves the rest of them open, they're all 10 years, will that have a negative impact on her credit score? Most likely, no. However, if she's got one 10-year-old card and 9 one-year-old cards, and she closes the 10-year-old card, will that have an impact on her credit score? Yeah, it will. Because as that gets showed as closed, it's going to kick it into a different scorecard. Because now the new accounts, the open accounts, have an average length of history of 1 year. And so that is going to increase the likelihood that she's going to have a late payment over the next 2 years. Now, where did I come up with that? FICO, the Fair Isaac Company, or otherwise known as the Fair Isaac Corporation, created in 1956 by Bill Fair and Earl Isaac, mathematician and an engineer, created this very complicated algorithm. This algorithm predicts the future. Did you know that? The FICO algorithm predicts the future. This is why 90% of the world's banks rely on FICO. This is why it's a multi-billion-dollar company. They can predict the future of you, my friend, on whether or not you're going to pay your bills on time. Did you know that? And they are extremely accurate, which is why the banks trust them. It's why the banks use FICO and they don't use a FACO credit score, such as TransRisk, Vantage, what you see on Credit Karma. My FACO credit score on Credit Karma is 659, 646, something like that. It's a FACO score. My FICO credit score, you've seen it, varies between 760 and 780. 760 and 780. But my FACO is always in the 600s on Credit Karma. Why? Because Credit Karma is a credit card affiliate site that is using a Vantage credit card score in an attempt to get me to get a new credit card. And because I carry very little balances on my credit cards and I pay them off in full every month, I am not a good candidate for these high risk, high interest rate scores. So they credit cards. So they lower my score in an attempt to trick me into getting one of these high fee, high interest, low credit limit cards. I know better, so I don't apply for those cards on Credit Karma. But that's a different scorecard, not a FICO scorecard, but it's a different scorecard inside of Vantage. Confused yet? Do you see why people get so confused on credit? So back to will my score go down if you close your card? Most likely, yes. It really depends, but most likely it will. And that's why I say, unless there is some financial reason that it's going to save you a substantial amount of money, you should never close a credit card. You really shouldn't. Now, I have a credit card that is $550 annual fee. So every year, I pay an annual fee of $550. Now, I know that might sound crazy. $550 to keep this card open. But I get $200 for free with American Airlines every year. I get about $1,000 credit at clubs. There's over 1,500 clubs throughout the world. I can go in free of charge. They have bathrooms. They have movie theaters. They have bedrooms. They have sofas. So like when we were in Bangkok and we were in Hong Kong and Shanghai, everybody else that we were in the airport, sitting out, being miserable, Michelle and I were inside. We got to take a shower. There's full restaurants in there. Everything's included. It's comped. There's beds. You can go in there. If you have a 6, 7 hour, 8 hour layover, you can check yourself into a hotel for free inside the airport. Now, these airport lounges are also here domestically. Last week, we were delayed in Denver 4 hours. I didn't have to sit downstairs waiting for Frontier. I went to the club, sat on a couch, and worked. And they have printing stations and all that, right? So that's why I pay the $550 a year for that card, is because I get $200 credit and I get all these I get free internet on the airlines, on a GoGo, so that you can pay as much as $30 a day. I get it for free for the year. So there's reasons that you pay that $550. And what I'm getting at with this is the only reason you would close a credit card is because the annual fee is so high and the value so low. Generally, with these annual fees, you get it back if you use the card, or you get it back in points or in rewards. So, for example, Visa Signature, Capital One, Chase Freedom. Visa Signature is a signature Visa series. All right, so if you look at your credit card, it'll say Signature on it. It's not just Capital One. It's actual Visa Signature Series credit cards. You get free car insurance on rental cars. So when I rent a car and they ask, do you want the extra insurance? I say no. And then they say, are you sure? You're going to be blah, 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 blah. And I said, yes, I'm sure. If I rent it using a signature card, I get automatic insurance. Also, if you buy electronics with a signature card or American Express Platinum Series, you get double the warranty. So if I went and bought this, for example, this is a $300 headset and 1 year warranty. I paid with a Visa signature or American Express with it, I get automatic 2-year warranty. If I lose this, if it's destroyed, if it stops working, within the first 3 to 6 months, depending on the card, they will actually go in and credit that on my account as if I paid it, even though I didn't. They just give you a credit so I can go buy a new one. Give you an example. I bought an iPad. I was at a mall, and you've seen these little kiosks where you can go and have them wrapped and protected and screen protector and all that. I had that done. Went and had lunch with my wife. A couple hours later, I went back to the mall, and I asked for the thing. He's like, oh, no, you already picked it up. I'm like, no, I didn't. Yeah, we already gave it to you. I said, no, you didn't. I was eating lunch. They accidentally gave my iPad that I had just bought at the Apple store, gave it to them, haven't turned it on yet. They accidentally gave it to someone else. I couldn't prove they didn't give it to me because he insisted he did. I said, not a problem. I called up Amex. I went back into the Apple store. I bought another one. Amex then gave me a credit because I had that on my card. That's part of the protection. So what I'm getting at is usually when you have these $79 annual fees, it's worth to keep the card for the benefits. All right. So it's rarely ever a good idea to close a card. Generally, it's going to lower your credit score. There's very few exceptions to this. Now, I can think of a couple exceptions. So when I use words like never, there's always some exceptions. Here would be an exception to the rule. You're getting divorced. And you and your spouse are joint on that credit card. That's when you want to close that card. Yeah, it probably is going to have a negative impact on your credit score. But man, you got bigger problems. You got bigger problems than your credit score if you're going through the divorce. The last thing you want is to have the judge say you're responsible for that card and your spouse goes out and maxes it out and now you're responsible for it. So that's about the only reason I could think that you'd want to close an old credit card. And the other reason would be maybe your spouse or maybe you have a spending problem. And to preserve your financial status, to avoid bankruptcy, to avoid making your credit worse, maybe you got to do the alcoholic thing and stay away from it, right? Because you're a creditaholic. You don't have self-discipline. There are other ways to do it. But if that's the case, if you just can't control your spending, you just can't say no, maybe then you close the card because you got bigger problems. But if you're not going through divorce, you don't have a problem saying no, don't close them. Now, if you just have a little temptation, what you can do with those cards is, excuse me, Dave Ramsey says put it in a thing of water, put it in the freezer. That really doesn't work because you just take the water, they're going to sink to the bottom, and they just get it defrosted a little bit. You pull them out, and you've got the cards, right? What I say is go to the grocery store, get a big, fat 1 pound of juicy hamburger, take those credit cards and smash them up in that hamburger. Make a hamburger credit card meatball. And then you stick that meatball in the freezer. Because what will happen is, if you don't have the self-discipline, you won't be able to just defrost it in the microwave. Because it's going to ruin the card, right? You can't just put it in the sink. It's going to take 12 hours for it to thaw out. You can put it in some hot water, but it's still going to take some time to thaw out to where you can break that meatball open and get those credit cards. So that's one way you can do it. Now, you want to keep the card current, though, and you want to keep some activity on that card. Because if you don't use the card, you lose the reporting. Now, it's still on your credit. But remember when I said FICO is very good at predicting the future and that 90% of the world's banks rely on FICO and rely on their algorithm that predicts the future of you paying your bills on time over the next 2 years? They figured out something. they figured out that a lot of furnishers will forget to report to the credit reporting agency that the account's closed. And so what FICO has figured out is if there's no activity on a card, it's just no activity, no balance, nothing, just zero, flatlined. Your credit card flatlined. They'll kick it out of the algorithm. So that 10-year-old account will be kicked out of the algorithm because it's flatlining, and your 1-year-old accounts are showing up. That will lower your scorecard, or lower your score, because it's going to move you from a low risk, high credit score scorecard into a high risk, low score scorecard. Does that make sense? Let me get some of these questions up here. I hope you guys are enjoying this. I'm having fun. I'm starting to feel better. I don't know if you can tell. And that video yesterday I did was brutal. It was really hard. I did have some winners. Let me see if I can find the winners here. Rob, you said, do I have a good link to check your credit score? Yeah, you can go to our website, creditmojo.com. That's creditmojo.com. If you want credit monitoring service, don't go there if you just plan on canceling it, because it's not a free trial period. We don't do free trial. It's $30 a month. But with ours, free credit repair for life. So if you are a creditmojo.com user, and you get in financial trouble tomorrow, anything that shows up after the day you sign up, we'll fix it for free. We've had some people take advantage of this. They know they're filing bankruptcy in a couple months, so they sign up today, file bankruptcy in a couple months, and now we fix their credit for free. Saves them some money. But Credit Mojo is great. If you have good credit, you should get free monitoring service anyway through your credit cards. Generally, they're not very good. I'll give you an example. I recently got a new merchant account for one of my businesses, and that was on Monday, or on Tuesday they checked my credit. I still haven't been notified from the credit monitoring services through my credit cards. They haven't told me. And I know they pulled my credit because I got a notification through my Credit Mojo account, but I didn't get it from any of the credit card companies. So there's not really credit monitoring. It's kind of just like look at your credit score. They're not very good. The free ones are not very good. Rich Robinson says, what about a secured credit card? Should I close it out and get unsecured card and get all my money? That is a great question. That's a great question, Rich. Thank you for asking that. So what he's saying is he has a secured credit card. Should he close it and get his money out so he can get an unsecured credit card? Depending on who the unsecured company is, you may be able to have it switched to an unsecured card. So that's your first option. But if it is one of these high-risk credit cards, they're most likely not going to give your money back unless you close it. What I recommend in that case is get the unsecured cards first. You following me? Get the unsecured card first, then close the secured card and get your cash back. Don't close it first and then go apply for unsecured. Because if you close it first and they report it closed, you might not be able to get that unsecured card. So you want to get the unsecured card first in your hand, then close the secured card and get your cash. All right. So when you close cards, it has to do with cash. It really depends. I mean, if it's a lot of money, maybe it's worth getting it out. If it's $200 and it's less than 4 years old, you might, for sake of your credit score, you might want to leave that couple $100 in there for a little bit longer. It really depends on how bad you need the money and if you can go without it, right? So great question. Let's see what else we got here. Don't see. How do you get a higher credit scorecard? Pay your bills on time. Get a house or a mortgage. Get an installment loan like a car loan. Have 3 to 5 open credit cards that are at least 4 years old and never close them. All right, let's see. Where's the list? Jason, put the list in there for me. Bill says, is it worth keeping a credit card open if it costs me $75 a year in annual fee? Great question. I kind of went over that earlier, but I'm going to go over it again since you asked, Bill, because that is a good question. Thank you, Gustavo, for sharing it. It depends on the $75. Do you get $75 of value by having that card? And most of the time you do. If money's that tight and you're not getting the value and it just you got great credit already, then maybe it doesn't matter. And a lot of these things, when I talk about it, where never close a card, don't pay off an installment loan early, these are for folks that are below 760. If you have an 800 credit score, keep doing what you're doing because you got to figure it out. But if you do the take Dave Ramsey's advice and you're at 800 and you close all your credit cards, you're not going to be at 800 very long. You know, but if you're in an 800 and you got this card and it's $75 and you're not getting any value out of it and you already got 4 or 5 other cards, then go ahead and close it. Save the $75. But usually these cards with the annual fees, you get value, and usually you can call and ask them to waive the annual fee. And even if they'll only waive it for a year, it's worth it to keep it an extra year because it's going to increase your average length of credit history on your credit report, which then raises your credit score, which then puts you in a lower risk scorecard, higher credit score potential. Let's see who the winners are. We got Candy Chantel. Congratulations, Candy. Heather, I think she won yesterday too. That's pretty cool. Kent Georgie, Cleta Scott. I thought you won like a couple days ago. And Abdullah. Winner, winner, chicken dinner. That's right. Yep. You won again. And Abdullah, man, I'm going to butcher that. I'm sorry. Abdul Alim. So these are people who found value in my videos, which I appreciate, who shared it, tagged a friend, and hashtag Fortress Credit Pro. You do those 3 things, we're going to put you in the list to win. I don't pick the winners. It's random. We usually go to Google, and there's a little tool on Google. We can put in the numbers between 1 and 100 and 1 and 1,000, and it spits out some numbers, right? And some people just seem to be more lucky, or they seem to share the video more than just once. And you can do that. You can share it. Just make sure you're tagging someone new each time. Don't just keep tagging the same person or tagging your friend, because that doesn't really spread the word, right? It's not spreading the good news of good credit. So tag a friend, hashtag Fortress Credit Pro, and share the video. All right, anybody else have any more questions here? Sorry. I'm going to wrap the video up because I'm going to start coughing here. I can feel a lung spasm coming on. A couple times yesterday I blacked out from coughing. It's kind of sucks, but it's getting better. It's getting better. So if you don't have any questions, I'm going to wrap this baby up, right? But I appreciate you, and I hope you have an amazing weekend. Be safe out there because, you know, it is a crazy weekend, right? But I hope you have an amazing weekend and you spend some time with friends and family and bring in the new year the right way. Right? Bring in the new year with good credit. Wouldn't that be great to have great credit soon? You can have it. You can do it. Because remember, bad credit is a choice. You know, when I meet people all the time, they're like, I got great credit. I tell them what I do, and they're like, oh, I got great credit. Look at me. I'm so proud. I got good credit. And I feel like saying, yeah, so what? You're supposed to have good credit. You're supposed to pay your bills on time. You're supposed to be a man of your word, a woman of your word. You're supposed to pay. You're supposed to have good credit. But for those that had something happen in their life, that had a little speed bump, a little hiccup, we're here to help you. Get it cleaned back up. Get you back on track. Give you a second chance at having good credit. Something you can be proud of. If you know somebody like that, share the video with them. Maybe we can help them out. And you can also go to fortresscreditpro.com and learn more about how to have good credit. Eduardo, you asked, why did Capital One close my accounts? The reason why is I did a couple things. I was using my accounts. I had $100,000 credit limits with them, and I was adding VIP clients to my cards as authorized users. And what would happen is you would hire me to fix your credit. So like celebrities, we fix a lot of celebrities' credit. So I actually had 2 celebrities that had bad credit. I put them on my Capital One card. They instantly had 10 years of credit history. They had a $100,000 line of credit, which then took them from 400 credit scores, 500s, into the high 7s by just adding them to my credit cards. That was one red flag that they didn't like. But the biggest issue that Capital One had was we were running all of our expenses for the company through that Capital One card, and I was paying it off on a weekly, sometimes twice a week basis because it only had a $100,000 credit line. And we were running everything through it, so I literally had earned millions of points. And so my wife and I were traveling everywhere on any airline at any time, any hotel, any car rental, even restaurants, and we weren't paying for it through these points. And Capital One just kind of said, you know what, we think this is abuse because you're using personal cards for business, and we're not going to give you all these points anymore. So they just closed down the account. No big deal. I had American Express Platinum, so I switched everything over to American Express Platinum. I just like Capital One better because I got 2 points per dollar spent versus on American Express I get 1 point and sometimes 1.5. But the advantage of the American Express is it's truly a business card and it doesn't show up anywhere on my personal credit, where the Capital One does show up on my personal credit. And that's why I was paying it. One of the reasons I was paying it off all the time was because I didn't want to ruin my personal credit score by having maxed out cards. And Capital One was giving me all these points and never getting any interest because I pay that sucker off, right? So I just wasn't a good fit for them. So that's really the reason they closed it, because I was costing them money. Here's some questions here I got. Chase, you can do the point thing. My thing was we were running hundreds of thousands of dollars through it a month and adding celebrities. I can't say their names, but if I said their name, they truly are a celebrity. So there was some high risk stuff there where they would see the celebrity on my account and they thought maybe there was some fraud, because there are some companies out there and people out there that sell authorized users. So they sell. I saw one the other day. Give me $3,000 and I'll put you on my $50,000 card. That's illegal. That's not what I was doing. I don't do anything like that would ever jeopardize myself or my family or my freedom, right? So I wasn't selling the offer. I was simply just giving it to them because they're VIPs. Let's see here. Cool, you got your reports. That's good. Look for mistakes. I know there's some on there. Hey, Julia, you missed it. Just go ahead and watch it. I'll hit the post thing here in a minute. So I hope you enjoyed today's video. I sure did. I love doing this. It's so much fun. I don't get paid to do this. They always say if you had your dream job, if you do it, even if you get paid, I don't get paid to do this. I love giving away the silver. I love educating people. So I hope you found value in it. If you did find value, please share the video, tag a friend, #FortressCreditPro. Have an amazing weekend. And remember, bad credit is a choice.